Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the seventh webinar series, the seminar program organized by the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture of the University of Peradeniya. We have been meeting you every other Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. And thank you very much for being with us for the 6 programs that we conducted in 2023. We are happy to be with you today as well. The first program of the year 2024. So though it's late, let me also wish you a very productive year 2024 before we move forward. And to welcome you all and talk about the objectives of today's program, let me now invite the President of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture, Dr. Tushara Vikramarachchi. Over to you, Dr. Vikramarachchi.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to everybody. This is the we had to postpone one series. Our apology for this one because of most of our alumni officials had to attend the official event. Therefore, but we can see a considerable number of participants. The protected agriculture. Actually, today's speaker will talk about the practical challenges of this one. That is because now, as per the policy of the Sri Lankan agriculture, now we are driving towards the modernization, mechanization. It includes this type of this protected agriculture. Therefore, today's webinar will be utmost important for the those who are engaged in the protected agriculture, as well as who are going to teach this type of techniques to the other stakeholders. Therefore, we feel today's one of the most important webinar in our series. There are few such type of important webinars we have lined up for you to witness in future. Therefore, we request you all to be with us for this one. This is one of the activity organized by the Alumni Association, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Then with this one, I again welcome you all as a moderator. Our the big thanks to the Professor Buddhimarabe also. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tushara Vikramarachchi. And Dr. Vikramarachchi, as the President of the Alumni Association of the Faculty of Agriculture, is the person who planted the seed to make sure that this whole program will prosper and continue with interesting topics as you are experiencing in the past. So without much ado, and before inviting our speaker today, let me tell you two housekeeping announcements as well. One is not a housekeeping announcement, but just to let you know how we have organized the program. This is a well-coordinated program, I must tell you, the webinar, where the moderator and the speaker has been discussing about how the overall program should run. So it's going to be in the mode of question and answer, where the moderator will be asking questions and the presenter will respond to those. And we have carefully selected the questions based on the key issues, problems, and where the clarity is required with respect to our audience, especially looking at the individuals as well as the industry as a whole. That's one important thing to be kept in mind. The second important component about the Q&A session that we are going to have with our audience. In the case of that you have a question, we kindly invite you to type your question in the chat box. No attendee will be requested or allowed to speak and ask questions verbally from the presenter, but we kindly request you all to type it in the chat box, and also to make sure have your mics muted right throughout to facilitate the overall discussion that we are going to have. So with that little housekeeping announcement, let me now introduce today's speaker, a special person, as I told you. The topic that we are going to discuss today is navigating practical challenges in protected vegetable production in Sri Lanka. And that's our overall objective that we want to see to address certain issues so that people will understand, have a more clarity with respect to practical implementation of the subject area that we are discussing today, protected vegetable production in our country. And the speaker who is with us today is Mr. Roshan Perera. He is the Deputy Director at the National Agriculture Information and Communication Center from Department of Agriculture at Gannorua. So I don't think we'll have any other better person to go ahead with us. We go ahead with today's seminar. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, while welcoming Mr. Roshan Perera, thank you very much, Roshan, for being with us today. And let me ask the first questions to make sure to let the ball rolling. And the important part of today's presentation, as I told you, we are doing our best to address the key issues in relation to a particular subject area. So, Roshan, first important thing, the basic question that anybody would like to know a little bit further. Though the term protected agriculture is a familiar term right now, I think it's important that we start from giving an elaboration or kind of a definition with respect to protected agriculture and let the audience know what protected agriculture refer to and what types of cultivation systems are commonly observed in this sector. So with that question, I will leave the floor to you, Roshan.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. And hello, good evening, everyone. Before moving into my presentation, first of all, I would like to thank all the office bearers of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture University of Peradeniya, especially Dr. Tushara Vikramarachchi, for giving me this opportunity to serve you as a resource person, particularly on this subject, protected vegetable production. So, is it okay to share the presentation, sir?
Yes, go ahead, Roshan. It's all yours.
I think I'm audible enough.
Yes, you're audible. Very clear, loud and clear. Yes, we see your screen, Roshan.
I think it is clear. Screen is clear, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the question is, what is protected agriculture and how we can define this term protected agriculture? So before moving into that exact topic that we are going to talk on today, the navigating practical challenges in protected vegetable production in Sri Lanka. So I think it's better to have a little kind of idea on this, the what is protected agriculture. So what is it actually? It's like creating a special home for plants where we control certain parameters to help them grow their best. So imagine having kind of a shield around the plants that protect them from bad weather, sometimes insect pests, and sometimes diseases. That is what we do in protected agriculture. So not only that, we provide them with some kind of enhanced environment that is called controlled environment. Especially we try to control temperature, relative humidity, and light penetration. Even though it is not in Sri Lanka, in other countries, sometimes they control the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. So likewise, we try to enhance the environment of that protected houses. Also, we control the growing medium. That means, especially we try to control the electrical conductivity and the pH of the growing medium. So actually, those are the things that we try to control. And if someone asks why we do all those things, why we try to control all these things, and why we try to go for protected agriculture, so it let farmers to grow crops for a longer time, even when the weather in the outside is not good. We can do the cultivation. Even we can think of off-season cultivation, and also by having this off-season cultivation, we can avoid the production gluts. So sometimes we have cozy jackets where it is cold, or sometimes we can have umbrella when it is rain. The protected agriculture is just like that. For plants, it's like giving them a cozy and safe place to grow, and away from the harsh environment outside. So likewise, that's what actually we are doing. So if the operator or the grower successfully fulfill these above requirements, that means if the operator or the grower can control the atmosphere as well as to control the growing medium, then we can achieve a win-win situation. That means at the end of the day, we can have a good production. The plants also will be happy, and the farmer also will be happy. So likewise, actually, that is the definition of protected agriculture. So with that, I will let you know a little bit about this optimum requirements, because I talk a little bit about this parameters, that means atmospheric parameters as well as parameters of the growing medium. So different crops have their different requirements. Sometimes, as an example, tomato prefer the temperature of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. It prefer to grow with the environment having a relative humidity of 50 to 70%. So the situation in the substrate also has to be considered, not only this atmosphere. It is all about the right balance. That means balance between atmosphere and the growing medium, or balance between atmosphere and the root system. So most crops perform well at an EC of less than 1.5 decisiemens per meter, and at a pH of 5.5 to 7. So we have to think these parameters as well. Then only plant can grow their happy place. And the second question you asked from me is what are the common types of protected houses, and what are the cultivation methods that we commonly find in Sri Lanka? So these are the common types of protected houses that we came across when we walk around in the protected agriculture industry. So there are full protected houses, semi-protected houses, shade nets or net houses, and rain shelters. So according to the definition, all these types can be considered as protected houses. It gives some kind of a protection for plants. So we'll go one by one. So in this first picture, if you can see my mouse pointer, the first picture, it's a fully protected house. Or we can say that one as artificially ventilated protected house. That means the house is fully enclosed. Roof and side walls are covered with polythene, so allowing us to control the temperature and the humidity inside. So in these houses, we use technology to regulate ventilation, which ensure the continuous flow of fresh air inside of this protected house. By doing that only, we can control the temperature and the relative humidity. So it consumes a lot of energy actually. So in Sri Lankan context, it is very rare, this kind of fully protected houses. But in the second picture, in this picture, it shows a semi-protected house. So in other words, we call it as a naturally ventilated protected house. That means it allows natural airflow. That means only the roof is covered with a polythene, and the side walls are covered with insect-proof net. Side walls are covered with the insect-proof net. So that means naturally airflow can come into the protected house. So, but in this case also, that if the natural airflow is not enough to control the temperature and the relative humidity, we have to give these artificial ventilation facilities in this case as well. Sometimes we provide. So this is the second type of protected house. And also the other two types, shade nets or shade houses or net houses, and this one is called rain shelter. Net houses means sometimes our plants need break from the sun. That means to protect them from the intensive sunlight. So shade net or net houses provide just only that one. It is about giving them right amount of sunlight. But in the other case, that means rain shelter, it gives the protection from rainfall. That means the top part or the roof is covered with the polythene and the side walls are kept open. So that means it is kind of a fully open situation, but it gives the protection from the rainfall. That's why we call it as a rain shelter. So those are the types actually. And the next question, what kind of cultivation methods that we can practice inside of these protected houses? So in the protected houses, inside of the protected houses, we can practice either soil-based cultivation system or soil-less cultivation system. In soil-less cultivation system, there are basically three types as hydroponics, aeroponics, and substrate culture. Substrate means soil replaced by any kind of other substrate. That means it is not soil. So we'll go one by one for little introduction. So here, you can see soil-based cultivation. That is actually, this is the classic approach. So that means inside of the protected house also, if we want, we can go for soil-based cultivation. If we want, we can make beds and we can cultivate in that beds. Or else, we can have a pot culture with a soil-based mixture. That means we can use topsoil, we can use organic matter, or else we can use animal manure. So likewise, we can make a soil-based mixture to cultivate crops inside these protected houses. So this is called soil-based cultivation. And soil-less cultivation, I have explained that there are three types of soil-less cultivation systems. So first one is hydroponic. So here you can see in this picture, what is that hydroponic system. In soil-less cultivation, sometimes we give a media or substrate that is just to give the encourage for that crop or plant. But in some systems like this hydroponic, we can even grow crops without having that substrate. So in this hydroponic system, what we do is we dip the root system of the plant inside of a mineral bath. That means in this method, plant grow in a nutrient-rich solution, water-based solution. It's like a VIP treatment for our crops. So delivering essential minerals directly to the root system. It's kind of a VIP system actually. So in this aeroponic system, in the second picture, it shows aeroponic system. In the aeroponic system, what we do is we use similar kind of nutrient solution, but what we do is we just spray the nutrient solution as droplets to the root system of the crop. So here you can see that how we are producing G0 potato seed production in our Nuwara production plant. So in Sri Lanka, most of the G0 productions are done in this method actually. So the next method is substrate culture. Substrate culture means here this substrate replace the soil, that or soil-based material. So basically, in Sri Lankan context, we are using coir dust, coir chips, or sometimes paddy husk charcoal. So most of the cases, we proportionally mix those three materials together and make a brick-like thing or make a substrate. So that's how this thing is happening. Those are the things actually. I think I have sufficiently answered to your first questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Roshan. And I really like when you introduce a subject in general about protected agriculture. When you said it's providing a cozy and a safe place to grow, I think that's a nice way of introducing the subject area. And also when you spoke about the hydroponics, you said you are giving VIP treatment to the crop. That's really true. Such an attention being provided in this particular system. Well, let me come back to my second question right now. We are talking about protected agriculture, it's true, but we are focusing ourselves today on protected vegetable industry. In other words, using protected agriculture in the vegetable industry. And of course, when you talk about the vegetable industry, we simply cannot ignore the overall value chain of this group of crops. So Roshan, as an expert in this subject area with your experience, can you just provide us with an overall picture about the value chain of the protected vegetable industry in Sri Lanka? I'm sure I put forward the question correctly to you. Over to you, Roshan.
Yes, sir, yes. So we'll see. I'm sharing one slide. Actually, this is the big picture. Now, this is what actually we are talking about, the value chain. Imagine this as a roadmap that shows us how everything comes together from very start. That means at the beginning of soil or substrate preparation, and at the end ended up with the plate. That means what we are consuming. So before dive into this picture or the diagram, I want to acknowledge one important person, because this diagram or this important roadmap that I am showing at the moment is a collaborative work. So I want to acknowledge that person as well, because I'm sharing one important information. So this is a collaborative work done with the Department of Agriculture, Economics and Business Management, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. So our team leader was Professor Kodituak, the Dean Faculty of Agriculture at the moment. So I want to thank him for giving me the permission to share this slide with you. And having said that, I will explain this slide. So here in the vertical direction, we have listed the activities which are related to this protected vegetable production industry. So from input supply, the production, and trading, and finally the consumption. So you can see the main activities here. And from the horizontal direction, you can find the functions and interactions with each and every stakeholder who involved with this each and every activity. And at the end of this horizontal side, you can see the enablers who are dealing with these actuators, right? So likewise, we'll explain the whole picture in one particular slide. So if we just see about this input supply, that means main activity of input supply. So this input supply section we have categorized into three broader categories as infrastructure. That means infrastructure means tunnel construction, like things, and this climate control systems, and everything is under this infrastructure facilities. and seeds, pesticide, and fertilizer we categorized into one. So this is that, and also the funding agents. We take funding agents also as an input supply. So then in the production, basically there are two types of outputs will come as crop and seed, even though today we are going to discuss only about the vegetable production. So when we analyze in this value chain, we can see some farmers are producing seeds as well. Inside of these protected houses, they are producing seeds as well. So crop means the vegetable. So vegetable producers also there. And then comes to the trading. This involves getting our produce to the market and connecting with buyers. This can be local market. So this basically most of our produce goes to the local market, and sometimes they are targeting particularly hotel, restaurant chains, and sometimes it goes to the export markets. So this is how it's deal, right? So in most of the cases, that is one problem actually we have identified. Later on, I will explain what is the problem there is. So most of the produce is going to the local markets. That means traditional markets. So that's what the overall picture of this protected agriculture value chain actually.
Well, thank you very much, actually. I mean, I didn't expect you to position the overall value chain, and I say the overall picture on one slide. Look very complex, but you explain it in a simple terms, actually, Roshan. Thank you very much. Well, I have my third question right now. I think it's high time to go ahead with this. When you look at the protected vegetable production, vegetable produce under protected agriculture, what key aspects can you pinpoint as crucial elements when you consider the value chain within the value chain? And Roshan, you told that a little while ago, you'll be talking about the problems in certain aspects as well. I think additionally, that's a key thing that we should mention to us and make us educated and kept us aware about the problematic areas that you have identified in this context. Over to you, Roshan.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So here in this slide, the same slide that I have used to explain the value chain, but I have put some numbers here. So I have put from number 1 to number 7, if the slide is very clear to you. So those are the points that we identify that we should address. That means there are problems in those points. And sometimes I will suggest some answers also, but for the audience, they can think of some kind of answers for those problematic areas. I will point out 7 things that we have identified through this value chain analysis process. And so first thing, number 1 here, which is related to the inputs. So we have observed a knowledge gap in input suppliers on specific solutions. That means specific cultivation areas, sometimes specific climate conditions, sometimes specific crops, because most of the times farmers rely on these input suppliers for this kind of informations as well. So human resources which are dealing with this input supply process should equipped with knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are customizable. That means the knowledge, skills, and attitudes should be customized based on these specific requirements. Because if we talk about the Sri Lankan situation, we have about 46 agroecological regions. So across these 46 ecological regions, we came across with different kind of ecological conditions. So to suit those situations, all these requirements are customizable. That means should be able to customizable. And also, we have seen a lot of problems with this protected house designing. That means structural designing of these protected houses. So most of the structures used in industry are not area specific, and sometimes they are not compatible with the adverse weather conditions, wind situation. They are not strong enough to tolerate the windy conditions in the country. So there are a lot of gaps in this structural designing process. And also, we have seen that high cost of inputs. The one reason behind this high cost of input may be the economical crisis that we are facing today. But if we compare this, I will compare one thing, the cost of a 1 kilogram of Albert solution, that means the most common fertilizer that we are using in this industry. Before the COVID-19 or before this economic crisis situation, the cost of 1 kilogram of Albert solution is about 650 rupees. Now it is almost 3,000 rupees. But I haven't seen much difference or much rise in the price of the product. That means price of the vegetable. Now it is a little bit costly, but the produce that we are producing, that means vegetables that we are producing inside these protected houses, are not that much expensive when compared to this input price increase. And also, this lack of innovations in inputs, especially in fertilizer. So up to about 2022, we had only one fertilizer solution, that is Albert solution. So in 2022, one scientist from the Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kodikar, has introduced one fertilizer mixture called Codimix. So now both of these fertilizer mixtures are performing with pros and cons. So what I want to highlight here is, in other countries, they are using pure salts. But in our case, we are using premixtures, premixed fertilizers like Albert and Codimix. So if our farmers have accessibility to that kind of pure salts, actually, they can make their own fertilizer mixtures. So this is purely my idea. I don't know how other specialists or the fertilizer specialists how comment on this, but I think it is better if we can have that option as well. So this is one thing about this one problem that I have identified with this. We have identified with this value chain analysis on inputs. So next thing, number 2, is about funding. Number 2 is about funding. So less availability of funding sources. So we have observed that self-funded farmers show better continuation rate. That means they perform well in the industry. That means they have effort and interest. But small scale farmers who comes into the picture, like 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet farmers, show very high discontinuation rate. And also we have observed that most of these small scale farmers are getting their protected houses as a subsidy or a grant project from the government. So, but what happened at the end of the day is they give up the business. That means they left from the industry. So that means most of the investment coming from the projects for the government is wasted. So the problem here is we haven't the process of selecting the beneficiary is not in the right way. So we have to think of that as well in the future investments or future development plans. Right. The next question number three is, so most of the produce, that means most of the vegetables that we produce inside of these protected houses, going to the same marketing channel. That means farmers, collectors, retailers, and wholesalers likewise. It goes through the traditional market that we have observed with the normal vegetable production. So that means even we produce this in a protected environment with a high initial cost, we sell the produce in the same market as the traditional value chain. So it's a problem actually. So we'll go to the next thing because this one also related to this one, the problem number 3 that I have identified. This is point number 4 that I want to highlight. No special selling price at local market for protected agriculture produce. That means price challenges. As I explained, this also connected with the previous point I stressed. The produce of the protected agriculture doesn't always get a special price, special selling price, because we sell the produce in the normal market. The speciality is there in the process, but not with the product. That means in most of the cases, our growers are producing capsicum. Sometimes they are producing hot pepper, 9 millis. So all these two products, either capsicum or 9 millis, we can grow in the outside as well. That means the process is special. If we go for inside, the production process is special, but the product is not special. So because of that, we have to compete with the outside producers. So the price will determine, in most of the cases, the price will determine by the product come from the outside. So it's also a problem that we have identified. And number 5. So always we are talking about these export markets as a country, and even with this protected agriculture industry, we are talking on this whether we can go for export or not. So currently, most of our exporters send our produce to the market like Maldives and Middle East countries. But if we try for European and Japanese markets, it's very challenging. It's really challenging thing. The request, they might request high quality control in their standards. So if we think of grabbing new market opportunities, we have to increase the quality management system and also the certification systems. So certifications such as GAP, it can be either SL GAP or global GAP. Sometimes the GAP certification processes are they are specific to that particular countries. So GMP, good manufacturing practices, are needed for accessing those new market opportunities. So and also the farmers must be aware of these standards, which can be addressed through training programs and awareness programs, webinars like this kind of programs. We can aware farmers on these aspects. And number 6, here, the farmers. So capacity building on farmers. So we have to develop a lot of knowledge. That means as even as a Department of Agriculture, we are far behind with this industry actually. So we have to do a lot of research and development works on developing knowledge on this protected agriculture industry, and we have to aware farmers on this market-oriented production, because even though they are going for inside, that means protected agriculture, they are producing similar kind of a product with the outside agriculture industry, and also they produce those vegetables with parallel to the seasonal variations in the outside. So then always we have to compete with the outside farmers. And also importance of certification to reach new market opportunities, and awareness of GAP, GMP, and also if we go for seed production, seed certification services. So likewise, we have to increase the capacity of this our farmers. So this is one area that we have identified. And finally, number 7. So continuous consultation through the farming process. That means throughout the farming process. That means in most of the cases, farmers getting trainings, one-time training programs with Department of Agriculture or any kind of a training institute. Now there are several training institutes that they are providing this trainings. So farmers mostly have problems with plant nutrient management, crop handling, pest and disease management, sometimes market orientation of the product. So likewise, they have problems. So that problems are continuous actually. So to address those issues, continuous consultation is essential. So that means throughout the farming process, because this protected agriculture industry need skilled labor and also technical know-how. We cannot just let them proceed with one-time training. It's clear that consistent guidance and knowledge dissemination process among the stakeholders, that means not only for farmers, each and every stakeholder in this value chain is necessary to successful movement of this industry. So those are the 7 points that I want to pinpoint that we have identified throughout this value chain analysis process. So it's kind of a contradictory thing, but yeah, that's how.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Thank you very
Roshan.
much,
Not at all,
Roshan.
not at all. It's extremely important to see that you present all these things. And now I understand why such a complex map was positioned in one slide. So that's for your convenience. So before I move ahead and ask you the last question that I have, I want to invite the audience once again. We have already got several questions in the chat box. Some of the questions are forwarded to me personally, and some questions are in the comment domain. And I also invite once again to members to post your questions. You are not be allowed to ask questions verbally, but to post your questions only in the chat box, so that I will be asking those questions from Roshan. So Roshan, my last question for today's presentation. Now, there are a lot of people in the audience. Our audience is pretty good today, and I'm sure there will be producers who are doing into protected agriculture, and there are aspiring growers interested in joining the protected vegetable industry specifically. So what kind of advice, with your experience, would you like to offer to our audience and many others? I'm sure our audience will also spread the message. What do you want people to get into, whether this as a business venture or as a hobby? Over to you, Roshan.
Yes, most of the people ask this question. That's why I also pointed out this question because uh, it's like this. It's like this. It's kind of a business actually. Not kind of a business. It's actually a business. It's not a hobby, because the investment. If I said that if you are going to invest for 1,000 square feet polytunnel, the investment today is more than 1 million. Investment today is more than 1 million, 10 lakhs. So it's kind of a huge investment if we consider about the agriculture industry. So if we cannot recover that money, at least within 3 seasons, at least within 3 seasons means 1.5 year, 1.5 year. So if you cannot recover that money within 3 seasons, that business is not economical, I think. So that's why I said it is a business. So not so most of the people try to start this business by observing YouTube videos, sometimes Facebook groups. There are a lot of social media channels that disseminating knowledge. Sometimes those things are not real information. So they are misleading the newcomers to this industry. So that's why I said that if you are especially lack of cultivation, knowledge, and experience, don't let into this business. Don't let into this business. That's why my clear instruction. And if you really want to let into this business, get into this business, so you have to get the professional support. Professional support. That means continuous consultation from a reliable or reputable source. So there are a lot of misleaders in the industry. We have visited a lot of tunnels. Those are abandoned, and sometimes they lost the entire crop within 2-3 weeks just after transplanting. So likewise, there are a lot of misleading people in the industry. So that's why I am saying like this. So if you really want to start the business, go for a professional, reputable source for consultation. And also, that is not enough. That means consultation only cannot run this business. This business requires skilled labor. So you have to find skilled labor as well who can deal with plants. That is must.
Thank you very much, Roshan. Yes, professionalism comes up everywhere and you need the professional support. Well, some people make business their hobby. We have to understand that aspect, but business is business. There's an investment that comes in, as Roshan said, and the return to investment is also guaranteed if you go through a professional way of doing it. And that's the final advice with skilled labor and all that. Well, thank you very much, Roshan. Once again, I see a lot of questions in the chat box. So let me take one by one some of the things that you have answered, Roshan, but it doesn't matter. For the benefit of the membership, I think you can always go ahead and respond to that. The first question was asked personally, and it basically I cannot identify the member who asked this question because the device name is there. But whoever has asked this question was referring to Galle district. That's the important part, Roshan. So keep that in mind. The question is, can we cultivate vegetables like okra, brinjal, snake gourd, bitter gourd in protected houses in Galle district? Roshan?
Yes. So the first answer is to that question is yes, we can. Yes, we can cultivate. So in most of the people ask what kind of crops that we can cultivate inside of these protected houses. As I said, the investment is for a minimum size. That means 1,000 square feet protected house. The investment is 1 million, as I said. So in that case, we have to go for a high value crop. That's why always we try to introduce bell peppers, salad cucumber, lettuce like high value crops to those cultivations. But we can cultivate okra, brinjal, what we call snake gourd like crops also we can cultivate. But we have problems with this pollination. So we have to think of that. So even though we cultivate salad cucumber is a parthenocarpic crop. But if you go for other kind of crops, if it is required pollination, so we have to think of that as well. Kind of air movement we have to provide to facilitate that pollination thing. Otherwise, it is not a matter. Yes, we can do.
Yeah, thank you very much. Something related to that. We know, Roshan, nowadays the people talk of vegetable prices, right? Because of the recent incidents that have taken place in the country. But in you also talk about the level of investments that we require. Nishant asked a question, something related to this. This question is, what kind of vegetables can be cultivated in protected houses to reduce the price of vegetables in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, same ones, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
if we want, we can cultivate any kind of vegetable inside of protected houses. But why we go for high value crops is we have to cover the capital investment that we are doing at the beginning. So otherwise, we can cultivate other crops as well. If you want to cultivate carrot, if you want to cultivate radish, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, he was talking about this reducing price of the vegetables at the end. But of course, when you look at the investment, we have to think twice, isn't it, Roshan, when you select the crops as well. Well, Amita Andagala also asked a question. Remember, you were talking about pollination in your previous answer. You said pollination is an issue. But Amita's question is, what are the latest technologies for insect-free pollination within controlled environment? Roshan?
Yeah, actually, for insect-free pollination, so most of the cases we use airflow. Inside of the protected houses, we use airflow and also vibrators. So inside the protected houses, there are crop supports. So vibrators are connected with this crop support. So through this vibration, we can do the pollination. And also, if we want, we can use the air blowers.
Right. Thank you very much. Roshan, you were talking about Albert solution and the Codimix a while ago when you made the presentation. So Anushka Lakruan has a question for you. How about the performance of Codimix compared with Albert solution? And from where we can buy that product?
It's kind of a promotion, I think. Yes.
You give good
So
promotion.
I will answer like this, right? Uh, in Codimix, so if we use Albert solution, in addition to the Albert solution, we have to use K supplement and also calcium supplement. But if we go for Codimix, without having that two supplements, the crop will perform well only with Codimix. That is the main advantage with Codimix. And if you want to purchase Codimix, I think better to contact Dr. Kodikara, who is the Deputy Director in Research Station Bandaravila. So if you can contact him, I think he will give you the place where you can buy.
Yeah. So you have to contact Dr. Kodikara, and is it possible if you type the contact later, Roshan, in the chat box?
Yeah, I will type the
the
contact number in the chat
at
box.
the end,
Yeah,
so that
sure,
people
I will
can
type that.
So that's an important point, because since you have already spoken about Codimix and about kind to be look like a promising thing, so let's try to see how people can have access to that. Dubinda Vidana Gamake, our secretary to AAFA UP, has a question for you. We want to know what are the challenges for introducing fully automated protected agriculture like irrigation, temperature, and RH control using sensors, for example. So the question is, what are the challenges?
Yeah, very recently we have experienced power failures in the country. So when I am explaining the structures, I have explained that one structure is having a fully controlled environment. So that fully controlled environment is actually fully automated house. That means we have to control the atmosphere as well as the growing medium. It's highly energy consuming. So we have experienced several tunnels have closed with these power failures. They have to give up the crop. That means if the power failure is there for about 2 hours, entire crop can be damaged. Entire crop can be damaged. So with that you can imagine the cost of production as well. So that means 24 hours we have to run the tunnel with the power supply. That power cost will give a huge impact on the cost of production as well. So that is a main problem that we have faced. Other than that, the situation is okay because there are several companies performing well with this artificial intelligence and automation things, smart things they have introduced to this protected agriculture industry. But they are not popular among the farmers because of this cost factor, actually. Cost and the energy. Both are interrelated.
Yeah. Thank you, Roshan. What you said is quite correct. I recently took the final year undergraduates who are specializing following the advanced program in crop science to look at the agriculture sector modernization projects investments. And we saw some few fully automated systems that have been established already. And one of the problems that people identified is what you said right now. So I'm just trying to add some information to what you said right now with respect to fully automated systems. There's a question asked by Ajanta Anthony. Roshan, for you. Can we use 100% organic fertilizers in protected agriculture? For example, compost, vermicompost, and so on. That's the question.
It's a little bit tricky question. When we are shifting our production system into fully organic system, very recently we have experienced most of our farmers means protected agriculture farmers, give up their business because they cannot survive with this organic inputs. The thing is, their what we call their concentration and the amount of nutrients that contains in these organic fertilizers. But I don't have experience to say that totally cannot. There may be systems around the world, but in Sri Lanka, I haven't seen such systems totally depend on organic solutions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roshan. Of course, it's not to say that cannot be done, but there may be ways and means which we do not have experience or we do not do the practice in Sri Lanka, as you quite correctly mentioned. Now, you're talking about the investments, and of course, when investments will increase the product prices naturally when you look at it. So a similar question is posed by Chetana Chandrasiri. I will put forward that question to you. I'm sure you will answer that quickly. The question is simple. Is protected agriculture impacting farm gate prices?
Sorry, sir, I didn't get the question.
Is protected agriculture impacting farm gate prices?
Is protected agriculture impacting farm gate prices? Oh, it's like this. So when compared to the total vegetable production of the country, the proportion, that means the share of this protected agriculture industry is very low, I think. So because of that, it will not affect that much on this farm gate price. It's just my idea, actually.
Thank you very much. Short question, short answer as well. Vicky Vikramatunga, veteran in this particular field, Roshan, we all know him, one of our alumni of Faculty of Agriculture at Peradeniya. He has, 4 questions. So let me ask you one by one, quick questions and quick answers. His first question, why are greenhouses promoted in dry zone in Sri Lanka?
Should I answer that question? I think he might have a better answer than me.
Yeah, Vicky may be the best person to answer that question.
The best person to answer that question.
Yeah, would you like to go ahead, give your own opinion, Roshan, at this stage?
Yeah, my idea is also better not to promote greenhouses in the dry zone of the country, because it also incurred a lot of costs. Because if we go for dry zone, that's why I stress that area specific structures, we have to do research and development work for area specific or agroecological region specific structural designing. So if we construct the same kind of design in the dry zone, it will incur a lot of cost or a lot of energy on this climate control aspects. So in most of the cases, the crop will fail because of that favorable condition inside of the protected house for pest and diseases. We just assume that if we can construct a protected house, it will protect the crop from pest and diseases. But in the dry zone, it will give more favorable conditions for pest and diseases because of high humidity and high temperature. So it again become a problem. So yeah, that sort of things can be happen.
Yeah. I mean, we can also make a comment. I think we don't need to go into details of this, but let me read the comment for the benefit of everyone. What Vicky says is that a greenhouse should last a minimum of 10 years, and expecting return on investment in 3 seasons is not practical. That's his own experience and own opinion. You can respond to that later also, Roshan. And let me go to the question that another 2 questions from him. What do you propose to control RH in a protected agriculture system?
So actually, basically, we are controlling RH using misters and exhaust fan. In some cases, we are using pad and fan system, that means evaporative cooling system, to control RH, both RH and temperature inside the protected houses. So if we think of better thing, that means when we compare this misters and pad and fan system perform well, but the cost of that pad and fan system is higher. So both systems are using in Sri Lankan context, but it is high. So the answer for the previous question, yes, the structure of the protected house can last long for about 10 years. But after about 4 or 5 years, we have to replace the polythene. We have to replace the polythene and the insect-proof net. That's why I said that at least after about 3 seasons, we have to recover the cost, the investment cost.
Okay, thank you very much. There's another comment. Actually, this in favor of what you said. And Mr. Vicky Vikramattunga, with its own experience, says that using straight fertilizer mixtures is the most common practice in developed countries. And he fully agree with you when you said this at the beginning also. So thank you very much. Let me move on to Duminda Ratnayaka, who has identified himself as a chartered biologist. And the question is that I will rephrase the question a little bit. It's about the incidence of viral diseases in vegetables grown in protected agriculture systems or structures under Sri Lanka conditions. What is your experience, Roshan?
So viral diseases means in most of the cases, chili, capsicum, and hot pepper, bell pepper like crops are infected with viral diseases transmitted by these sucking insects. So that's what I think that's what he is mentioning. So if we can control these sucking insects comes into these protected houses, we can control these viral disease infections. But there's a problem. So normally we use insect-proof nets, 40 by 40 or sometimes 40 by 25 size insect-proof nets we use. So both these nets can transmit small thrips, palamecca, small thrips into these protected houses. That means they can penetrate through this net. So the most problematic insect that we find inside the protected houses are the thrips. So they can transmit diseases, that means viral diseases. So we have to take a lot of precautions to protect the cultivations from these threats. They can come with our clothes, sometimes they can come with the wind and rest in the insect-proof net, and very slowly they can transfer inside and infect the crop.
Sanitation
So
becomes
that sort of things are
extremely
there.
important, isn't it?
Yeah, sanitation
Yeah,
comes into the picture.
great. Next question is from WMS Vijay Singha. His comment is like this first. Farmers follow several YouTube programs as they don't have a way to get the correct consultants or, for example, information in this particular field. So the simple question is, what is your recommendation for better results? Roshan?
Yes, if I give my telephone number, then tomorrow onwards, I have a big problem. So
Yeah.
anyway, so Department of Agriculture have pool of resource persons. Pool of resource persons. I don't know whether we can cater to the all the training requirements or consultation requirements of the country, but somehow so far we try to manage all those queries come for us. So if anybody can contact In-Service Training Institute Gannuru, In-Service Training Institute Gannuru, we are providing training programs those who are interested in this field, and also through WhatsApp groups, we are providing continuous consultation as well. If someone came across with a disease problem or pest problem, just take a picture and put it into the WhatsApp group. Pool of our resource person will answer to you. So even though we cannot visit the place and give the recommendations and all that, we do some kind of distant consultation thing in that way. So yeah, ISTI Gannaru is doing the training programs at the moment.
Yeah. Can you also place the telephone number of the contact at ISTI Gannuru, the In-Service Training Institute? That will be helpful for audience. JM asked the question right now. Usually, certain pests multiply rapidly in fully protected houses. I think fully protected in the sense, I mean, you presented the photograph of a house, and that's what the member is referring to. What measures can be taken to reduce this problem?
Yes. So first thing, continuous monitoring. That means we call it scouting. Continuous monitoring is essential to check whether the crop is infected with one pest or one small fungal spores or something like that. The continuous monitoring is essential. That means we have to live with the crop and we have to take immediate actions just after we see the problem. That means, as he very correctly said, very little period of time is enough to proliferate the disease or population inside the protected house very rapidly, because the inside of the protected house, the conditions, that means relative humidity and the temperature conditions, are very much favorable for uh, insects as well as fungal diseases. So the thing is, we have to observe it very correctly, and also we have to take immediate actions, and also we have to maintain the RH and temperature at the right point. That means sometimes it goes beyond that because of the unsuitable control mechanisms. So that's also important.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roshan. Nilusha asked a question. Her question is that why Sri Lanka is not cultivating high-value crops like cantaloupe, which can be exported with value addition?
Yeah, I can't say exactly why, because if I answer to the question in a different way, before the COVID-19, most of our farmers cultivate bell pepper. Most of our farmers cultivate bell pepper. But with the COVID-19 situation, our tourism industry collapsed very rapidly, right? So in that period, they convert the bell pepper cultivation into capsicum, mulberries. They choose that crop because they don't have an alternative. That's why they go for that crop. So likewise, we have discussions with one farmer, and I don't know whether he's a farmer or entrepreneur or a businessman, who cultivate this cantaloupe melon, but at the moment he's also not cultivating. He's also not doing that. But I don't know why the exact reason. But when we think of that export market, as I said in my presentation, we have to think of these quality standards and certification process and everything.
Thank you very much. The question comes from Amila Amaratunga. The question is like this. I mean, in any crop production system, protected agriculture or not, crop selection and the variety selection plays a very important role. So the question of Amila is like this. Are there any studies regarding the performance of different varieties of crops in Sri Lanka? For example, you're talking about salad cucumber. So what the best variety in terms of research to be cultivated in a protected agriculture system? Are there information available, Roshan, on that?
No, I don't think so. But most of the varieties cultivated inside of these protected houses are hybrid varieties imported. Even the capsicum variety, which is more popular among the farmers, is not our one. But very recently, one of our variety called Prarthana, also popular among the farmers, which is performing par with this imported variety. So likewise, when we are releasing a seed or when we are releasing a variety to the industry, seed certification service is doing performance evaluation and give the recommendation whether it is okay with the Sri Lankan conditions or not. But I don't think it's comparative study with these varieties, different kind of varieties. I don't.
There's a gap in that case, isn't it, Roshan, with respect to information?
Yeah.
And Jim also asked a question earlier, but there's another question from the audience, from the member. There are different donors who facilitate farmers to establish protected houses in different ecological regions. Some are totally failures. You also explained that, Roshan. Can DOA regulate this issue? Otherwise, different problems may aggravate in agriculture, in particular with respect to pest and disease conditions and their control. What is your comment, Roshan, on that?
Department එක වෙනුවෙන් මම අමාරු වෙටනවාද කියලා අහන්න. Yes, but in most of the cases, Department of Agriculture also involved with this the what we call donation process, because technical evaluation and the construction specification development, most of the things are done by the Department of Agriculture. But the thing is, those beneficiaries are not selected by the Department of Agriculture. The thing is whether we select the best or the right beneficiary or not. And also the lacking of research and development on this area specific structural design, that's also a problem. And as Mr. Vicky Vikramatunga said, my recommendation also not to go for dry zone, not to go for dry zone. We better not to go for dry zone for protected agriculture.
Thank you. Roshan, lots of questions are flowing in. So I would like to kindly request the audience to stop posting questions at this stage. But of course, the relevant telephone numbers are also given because we also have to stop this program. We planned it for 1 hour. It's now almost getting closer to 8:30, but then still we have to continue to respond to these questions. They are important questions, Roshan. I'm sure you don't mind. Now, here comes a question from our president. President in the sense, President of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture. Dr. Tushar Vikramachi asked a question. Do you have any suggestions and recommendations to introduce better quality control mechanisms for certain essential inputs, such as netting, which is missing right now?
Such as netting.
Netting, yeah, nets.
Yeah. We better if we can introduce that kind of thing, because for agriculture machinery also we had this kind of mechanism. In earlier, if we want to import one kind agriculture machinery to Sri Lankan market and introducing to Sri Lankan market, we have to get the recommendation from the Farm Mechanization Research Center. So likewise, we have standards. We had standards, but it is not a must. So likewise, if we can have this kind of a standard, that means for netting and some kind of irrigation systems, polythenes that we are using. Sometimes farmers are cheated with these polythenes. Normally the polythene should be UV treated, but normal polythene also selling to the farmers. So likewise, there are things happening in the industry. So better if we can control these things with standards.
Thank you very much, Roshan. Anuruddha has a question for you from the environment point of view. Now, Anuruddha's question is like this. Environmentalist and regulatory authorities in many countries are now looking for environmentally safe disposal and recycling of construction waste coming from protected agriculture. What is the preparedness in Sri Lanka or Department of Agriculture for such a situation?
Sorry, sir, no idea.
No idea. Yes. I think, but it's an important question, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an important area to consider, because we are dealing with the sustainable development goals and everything.
Exactly. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
Again, this
we have to think.
Look into. Yeah. Benu has a question from you. Can we make use of protected agriculture to develop or expand fruit crops like grapes, especially with the idea of enhancing the sweetness of fruits?
So actually, I don't have experience with that particular research, but we have seen in Korea, Japan like countries, they are cultivating grapes inside of these protected houses. Even they are cultivating banana, mango like crops inside of these protected houses. So I think we can do that, but I don't know whether we require this one or not. That means we have a lot more things to do.
Okay.
Rather than growing grapes.
There are more priority items that should come up.
Yeah,
say, right?
more priority items.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And JM once again coming onto the scene. And the question is, red color is considered invisible to insects. Is this color used in protected houses?
Red color is invisible for
insects. That's what the question says.
No, I haven't seen that one, but we use blue and yellow for insect trapping. That means for sticky traps, we use blue and white, blue and yellow.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. And this is the last question that I'm going to put forward to you right now. So after that, we'll close the session. And the last question is coming from Dr. Vikramachi. Actually, it's the same question that he has asked Roshan from you. I'm sorry, I was also misguided when I see a lot of other people are responding to that as well. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for actively taking part in this discussion. It's extremely important, and the questions that you have posted itself gives a better idea for us how important the subject that we have discussed right now. People are information hungry, Roshan. That's important. So let's try to make sure this information get passed across to a wide group of stakeholders so that they can harness the knowledge that is available with the Department of Agriculture, people like you, to make sure that there's betterment of this industry in the future. So thank you very much, Roshan, for being with us and giving your expert advice. And this is an important point. And colleagues and ladies and gentlemen, one of the key objectives of the Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture is to make sure that clarity is given and people become aware about what is actually happening on the ground, and also to make sure they will clear their doubts with respect to any technical matter in relation to the technologies that we have been discussing, and especially recommended by the Department of Agriculture. And that will be our first series. We'll be moving on to other sections later as well. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. That's quite a lot of questions, Roshan, I must tell you, and you answered very well. Thank you for this proactiveness, coming forward, giving frank opinion about what you know based on your experience as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet you once again. The AAFAUP, Alumni Association of Faculty of Agriculture of the University of Peradeniya, will come to your places once again in 2 weeks' time on a Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. bringing in lots of information that will be very, very useful for people individually as well as for those who are in the industry. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night.
Thank you very much and good night.